Uh, Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Unicorn Trajectory podcast. So, the topic today is people and culture dynamics in transitioning from an early stage to a growth stage startup. Our guest today is Zein Nemri, founders of System of Harmony, an on-demand people and culture service firm for startup and scale-up. And previously, she is VP of People and Culture at Sarwa, one of the fastest growing fintech startups in the Middle East. Hi, Zain, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Skye. Very, very happy and excited to be here. I think remote works really well in the region. And I do think that I would really encourage people to be more open and flexible to that. Because you can build different centers in different countries and you can solve for a lot of things while also building a strong culture. Those are the few things.
I want to dive into this remote work points. Because I definitely see from all of the regions that I have worked in, from Europe to Asia to the Middle East. It's very interesting because geographically, this region is very well suited for remote work, but culturally, like you go out on the street and ask a normal person, like everyone is so averse to remote working. So how did you make remote work in the regions? I know that you have done it, and you've somehow like make it work in one of the fastest growing like fintech companies in the GCC. So I'm very curious about that.
Yeah. So I think it starts with the founder's mindset. So it really starts there. And this is a bit of experience in multiple different companies. At Sarwa, for example, the founders were amazing and super flexible and open to flexible working because they understood the benefits of it, because they took advantage of it for themselves. In terms of you can kind of work from wherever you want. It saves a lot of costs on the company and so on. So I think it starts with the founder's mindset. There's a mindset that I do disagree with, but I find is quite common, which is if you work remotely, you're lazy. You're not going to work as much as you would be in an office. You're not going to be as productive, and you're going to take advantage of that. And I think that's rooted in like a bit of mistrust. And if you're hiring the right team, they're going to be working just as much if they were at home than if they were in person. And you'll find in a lot of companies in person, people look busy, but they're not actually doing much. And you end up kind of looking like you're just doing a lot of, like I mentioned, busy work. So I don't think that's necessarily the case either, but you'll find that this is a very common misconception, that remote work equals less work, equals lazy, equals demotivated, and so on. Whereas what I think people are missing is that a lot of the younger generation especially value being in control of where they are and how they work and where they work. And it's actually a motivation. Like it is something that will motivate them to work more. And
it's just to add on this point, really, I look at this from an anthropologist point of view. I'm very liberal about it. I'm open to work in the office. I'm open to remote work. I'm open to whatever, because for example, like me personally, I'm just like a person. I work even when I sleep. So it's just like how my brain works is like I'm just genuinely like curious about what I'm working on. So my brain is always on. So that leads me to kind of like think it's really about, you cannot really put people into like, okay, if they stay at home, they're not going to work, or if they stay in the office, they're going to work or they're not going to work, right? It's really about like, who are the people that you hire?
Exactly.
You need to be able to screen the people, right?
Exactly. And you need to have a deep trust in your team that they will be doing what they need to do. for both the success of their role and the success of the company. And it is important to have visibility as well. You don't want to be operating in the dark. So what do performance metrics at your company look like? What does it look like to know if somebody has done the job well or if they haven't? If you can see who's delivering and who isn't. So it also goes into the company way that the company tracks performance. Because if there's no way, no data, then you're obviously going to feel a mistrust in your team if you can't see and you can't um, really understand what is going on under the hood. So I think there's twofold. One is like trusting the individual, but the second is the company's performance and departmental performance and data. Um, if you can see that a customer a service agent has done 150 tickets in a day, and this was their CSAT, and this is what their tickets look like, and so on, you're not going to care if they came to the office or worked from home. But if you don't have that visibility, you're going to be a lot more comfortable seeing them in person in office. It'll like rest your um, any anxious thoughts or any concerns or any worries about the team and their commitments and their performance. So I think when we talk about remote and office, all that, I do think the company needs to be set up to be to have data and some sort of visibility, because that's when trust breakdowns happen. I think another element is that after the mindset of the founders, it's quite easy and doable. Uh, you need to figure out what roles in your team require in office, what roles in your team require to have in-person meetings, what roles in your team really don't require any in office time, and kind of set it up that way. Do you want to have one policy for the whole company? Do you want to have different departmental policies? Do you want to have hubs? Do you want to have kind of like 1 day a week, 2 days a week? There is no right or wrong for remote work. I think it's really about experimenting and having a conversation with your team of what's working for you. I do think 100% year long remote work isn't the best model because you do need some face time, whether it's for activities or for meetings once a month, once a quarter, whatever the case, whether it's for a company retreat, whether it's for an offsite, there's no right or wrong. But I do think fully this and fully that it doesn't really work in today's world, especially if you're trying to appeal to um, younger team members to join you.
Yeah, you make it sound so easy. I mean, I'm still debating both of the cases for remote work and non-remote work. And as much as I'm open for experimentations, the management of remote work, to me, I feel like it's still in the early stage, and it's almost like I need to start an experiment, and we need to like fine tune along the way, and don't just go from, hey everyone, let's go from 5 days in the office to 0 day. Maybe something
Yes.
like once a day, and then we'll see how it goes, and then we readjust. And again, open communication, like, hey team, this is not like a transition, it's an experiment. Let's see if it works. If it doesn't work, and then we need to create like something else. And why are we creating something else, right? We need to always like because I have like investors to answer to, I have customers to answer to, like on top of my mind is always the performance, right?
Of course, and it's definitely not easy. It's not a walk in the park, and there isn't. And I think what people struggle with the most is that there isn't a formula. So that's what I was saying. There isn't one way that people should do. There isn't the right or wrong. And it is really up to the founders and the leadership of a team and the HR of a team to set up what that remote flexibility in person ratio looks like. And that's the challenging part. There's no playbook. It's different for each company. Some companies require people to be in office. Some people don't have an office. Some people have people spread out around the world. There's no right or wrong. And I think going from one extreme to the other is a big no. I think doing it gradually and tweaking as you go is the better way. So if you're fully in office now and you want to experiment with a half day remote. Experiment with flexible. You can experiment with core hours where these are the hours where everyone needs to be in the office. And other than that, you can be remote, you can be in office. There are different ways you can do it, but going from one extreme to the other is a big no, always.